Good morning, laddies. My name is Chaz, and welcome to the What If Deku Become a Nomu? So, in my opinion, or in my version, yeah. So, Zuko in this What If has the powers of infinity and zero. Basically, he was born with it. So, yeah. And you guys voted for Herm, the or you guys voted for Love Story, basically. More times than, yeah. So, it's going to be a love story. So, without any further ado, I'm also adding zooming to this what if, so, yeah. So, let's begin. Zuko and Zumi was born. And they just, so, I'm skipping over the Quark Doctor thing, but both of them have quirks of fire manipulation. So, but Zuko's has a similar to, like, Fire Fist Ace kind. So he can control fire. He produced fire from his body. So, yeah, like Fire Fist Ace. So, let's continue. As, yeah, Zuko was also born with a rarest power, but no one knows about it. So, not even the Quark Doctor. So, one day, Ochako and Zuko were, or actually, let's say they were walking, and Zuko ends up getting his. So, yeah, Zuko was walking by himself. And of course, Ochako did love him so much. Yeah. So then Zuko ends up being, Zuko. Is pretty much. Alright. I had to itch my eye real quick. So, yeah. But he went over a weird shortcut. It was different from the Sludge Villains one. So, when his sister did take the path where the Sludge Villain was at. So, yeah. So Zuko ends up falling into a hole. It's similar to the, give me a minute. It was when our main protagonist So when she, like, that one scene I'm trying to find and where the main character of that segment landed on, like, bunch of clothes. Well, he basically went, like, his arm. So basically, let's get back into this. So, yeah. So Zuko ends up breaking his arm. And he's like, ugh. And so he walks in a cavern. Not tap room, but cavern, like a cave. And what he saw could be unbelievable. Underneath, the entire city was full, I mean full of atom bombs. Basically, nukes. Yeah. 1 point bazillion. Billion. And each one, or actually there was 10 villains. Like, there was 10 villains. Each one was like, and was talking about how to start it off. As the guy, so Zuko ends up beating them with a broken arm and and plus one of them. So Zuko uses a similar method to, like, as, like, forging. So he forged all those nukes into one. And so, like, basically, he says to himself, zoom in, zooming. So so Zuko ends up being like, oh crud. And he had to take all of them because there's 10 minutes. So someone pulls the trigger and so then so they launched, or he picks them up and launched them into outer space. And Zuko did open the whole thing, and he pushes it out, and the explosion happened. So Zuko ends up basically, so atom bombs, like that 1 point bazillion one, Zuko ends up pushing all of them out into outer space, and they all exploded all at once. And everybody heard the explosion. Ocean. And I'm trying to find. So I'm trying to find the stupid image real quick. It was yeah. But when they heard the explosion, the Zuko dies. Yes. And when so yeah. It was out in space, so yeah. So then Zuko or so Zumi looks up and the so she got home and it's been about 5 hours or no 5 days. So they were it's a time skip thing. So they were at age of 5. Then this happened. Then yeah. So when at first Zumi or Inko thought he's never been this late, or maybe that explosion. Wait, as it dawns on her, as she starts tearing up, as Zumi says, "What's wrong?" As Inko says, "I think your brother saved all of us from the that explosion. He sacrificed his own life to save all of us." But as but they didn't know that Zuko survived. He's been in like he's in the Arctic, like basically frozen water. He got frozen in time. As Zuko walks, or no, as the Quark Doctor knew the location, and as he asked Kirigiri to go, or to, for both of them to go get, or for him and one of the one of the other nomus that were can handle ice things. So yeah, went with Kirigiri and they both went it, or all three went to the Arctic where Zuko was last seen. Or was as he looks down and he sees the Zuko's dead body. I mean, frozen in ice. As the nomu that I was talking about, the not Kirigiri, but the other one, used his powers to get Zuko out of there. As the yeah. So when Zuko ends up, or so when the Nomu took Zuko's frozen body back to the lab, yeah. So that he, like, of course they did melt the ice off, and he off of Zuko and puts him in the tank. And Zuko had copied his own original quirk. So an original quirk was hiding in Zero and Infinity with his memories. So he copied his memories too. So the copied ones got stolen. The original was still with him. So then he got like every quirk put into him. So he turns himself, or so it turns him into a nomu. Yeah. He was bigger, badder, lizardly. Even he can't even remember what happened. So then when Zuko was Zuko was pretty big. Like, so then he was ready. So before the USJ thing, as USJ, so the obedience chip was inside of his neck part near his brain, and so then so then he gets so at the USJ. It's like normally, but they brought in two strongest nomus, Zuko, or they called him Patient Zero, and the nomu with the brains. Sorry. So, yeah. So then so Zuko ends up being like as Mr. Ozawa or everybody or so Zuko or no, first Zumi recognizes the number two, the basically the one with green skin, green hair, green eyes, and yeah, as her own brother, or as Zuko went right for them. As Zuko says, or actually, Zumi says, as because she knows it's her brother. As she says in a really quiet tone, Zuko, is that you? As and he looks at her. He did stop his attack. As his voice, or he telepathically, or no, he comes in. He was about to kill the students, but he's trying not to. So then his tears coming down his face. as the yeah. So then All Might shows up, and so they sent, or so All Might sent the brain nomu, I forget his name, this guy, and then the Shirakusen and Kirigiri teleported out of there before her, and leaving Zuko. And so Zuko ends up, or so All Might comes in full blast, and All Might can't stop his own attack. And he punched Zuko right in the face. It destroys his head with his neck. So, yeah, basically, that's what Zuko wanted. And then for All Might to destroy the obedience chip in his neck. So Zuko dies. He's again. First he got frozen. And then he got turned into a nomu, basically brought him back from the dead. And he got his head blown off by All Might's punch. And yeah. As Zumi runs over and hugs her, or holds her brother's hand. And, brother, don't leave us. And Zuko, as All Might can't believe that he murdered an innocent child named Zuko Midoriya. So they brought his body back to the recovery girls things to diagnose what was wrong with Zuko's thing. So when they did, and Zuko was, so after they diagnosed what he had, multiple quirks got put into him. So then when Zuko came back to life, or his head grew back, it wasn't the normal, as he did shed, basically his old dinosaur skin. Or actually, not that. When I say that, I'm talking about that kind, but no. He actually transformed back into his younger self, his self, should I say, before he got turned into the nomu. So Zuko wakes up with his eyes open. And so Asashi walks in, because he's a pro hero and he was with a detective, but he just noticed. So when he walks in, he saw his own son, his dead son that got killed, not once, twice. So when Zuko gets up. Like, what happened? And as he's trying to remember what happened to him, as Asashi walks up real slowly, so then when he hugs Zuko, or actually Zuko looks up at Asashi. Sorry, I'm just looking at this one. Sorry. So, because I don't have, okay. So when Zuko looks at Asashi, he's in daze, confused. Why is he in the hospital bed with blood all over him? And Zuko, that's what he asked Asashi. But before he said, "And is that you?" It's DAD, yeah. So then when as Asashi says, "Yeah, it's me, son." So then when All Might, so when Zuko looks at and he turns to see All Might standing there, and Zuko was ready to jump out of his bed and get an autograph from All Might, but he's so in daze. He's not even he can't even think straight at this point. As as the detective says, we found, or you popped up out of nowhere. You were with a bunch of villains. As the detective shows a picture of what Zuko looked like before, as his mind's hazy, but he remembers there was a lab that he was experimented on. So then he starts to tear up as he starts to cry. As Sashi walks up, as he just now remembered as he starts, it's like he can't even talk straight. So so everybody's trying to calm him down. It's just so when he finally he was so explains in everything that he remembers. Him falling in the cavern and with 1 bazillion atom bombs, or nuclear bombs, and fighting 10 guys, 10 villains. And when the detective Sashi and All Might and the rest heard that part, they could not believe it. And then when Zuko, as he says, I remember me welding all of them together to and throw them out in space. The next thing I remember was waking up here. Like, as the so then they asked the wild cat Red to come in, and like all three of them, Sashi, the detective and chief of police, and the All Might, wants to see what's happened in his mind. Okay. So then when Zuko went in, or so when they brought everyone in there, as everything was true, as they see his own body falling from the sky, landing in the water, ice cold water of the ice of the Arctic. It froze him to death. As they turn around and they see the Quark Doctor with one nomu and Kirigiri. So, yeah, walking over to him and grabbing their son, or they couldn't touch them, but they could see. And one nomu picks up Zuko's frozen body. And yeah. And yeah, so then they switched images to the Quark Doctor's lab, and they see what he sees before they transformed him into a nomu. They could not believe it. As tears going down Sashi's face. As they could not believe it. And as he has like so many emotions crashed into each other's. It was, but so when they left, yeah. As so Asashi tells Zuko that it's good to have you back, Zuko, by the way. Yeah. So yeah, Zuko was pretty glad to be back in the land of the living. So yeah, then so the detective tells Zuko that you got killed twice and you came back twice. Like basically you got frozen in ice. Yeah. That explains why you have they they didn't fully thaw you from it. Yeah. That's why your skin is so cold. So then they put like heaters and like basically putting yeah. So then when Sashi walks up or so after he left, he did call Inko and told her that the full story about how they like Zuko died and came back twice, like basically, yeah. And when Inko heard that, when Inko heard that, and the and she could not believe that her own son got killed twice and then came back twice. And plus then so she goes over to Inko calls Zumi and tells her the whole truth about like your son, your or her brother is still alive. And Zuko, as Zumi walks over there, and I talk to my brother. Sure. As he walks over, or as she walks over to Zuko, hey brother, what's up? Good. How about you? Well, it looks like you're still alive. So, and yeah, so he got killed off twice. First time, he was frozen to death because the explosion didn't cause any like literal harm, but instead it caused him to have some burn marks, but not enough to kill him, and ends up falling into the Iceland. And yeah, so basically Zuko, this is what Zuko looked like before. Or like what his yeah. So then the second time he or actually he after he got transformed into a nomu and he became like basically the like yeah, and had All Might like takes him out, like punched him in the head, makes his head explode. Yeah. So then he came back even more alive than yeah. So then Zuko owns is, so Nezu did show up before and tells Zuko that he can join UA team. Okay. As he, so then they go to UA, and he's in Class 1A with Ochako, Momo, Todoroki, Bakugo, and rest of them, including his own sister. So when they met Zuko, first of all, because he has friends of Todoroki and Bakugo, and of course the Ochako was Zuko's crush, basically. And yeah, so Zuko and Ochako, or so, and Ochako still, thank goodness, she still hold hope out for him. So yeah. So then Zuko, or so then Todoroki and Bakugo were like, how did you survive that? And Zuko says, I came back from the dead twice. Number 2, got frozen to death, and so who could blame me? As Bakugo and Todoroki ends up man, so you're yeah. So, and Ochako was trying to hug him, or actually, she did hug Zuko, and yeah, and she did not poke at him, but she did kiss him, and she's not embarrassed to, because everyone knows that. So yeah. So she says yeah. So basically, so yeah. So then, first time around was frozen. Yeah. So after that, time skip to All Might versus All for One. All Might was down, but not out. And somehow they brought a special, or so Zuko's power when he created when Quark Doctor actually created a nomu companion for Zuko instead. So yeah. So Zuko, and the nomu, a version of himself. That's what he looks like. And so both of them were man, You're just one weird person, aren't you? As All For One says any last words, or actually he ignored Zuko as the voice. He says, yeah, we have one. Look up. First of all. And number two is, we're gonna kick your butt. As All For One looks up and he sees, as he says, because he knew that Zuko had the power of infinity and zero. The most powerfulest person in the entire universe. And looks like you have the clone version of you. When you used to be the nomu. Zuko Midoriya. So then both of them walk down and they start pounding on All For One around like a little rag doll. Because they were fast. So they're as he uses his full power, and yeah, he beats around All For One, or they both beat around All For One. And so, then, yeah, so after All For One was defeated and he was glad to see his own, so he feels much better, but he still feels a little bit cold, but so the Nomu gives him a jacket, the heated jacket that could burn any normal person. But Zuko wasn't normal. He has the powers of infinity and zero. He expanded his lifespan too, and his entire time thing beyond. So yeah. So then Zuko ends up laying with a heated jacket, and his body starts to warm up as he feels a lot better. So, and his girlfriend cares about him so much because she knows that he's been frozen. First he got killed twice, and yeah. So just to clarify, yeah, Ochako loves Zuko that much. She even she's not embarrassed to say I love you too. Or love, yeah. Yeah. But every day, so basically they wanted, or so she wants him to be yeah. And she wasn't all hardcore thing. She was more of a, So yeah, so then the time skip after that and whole All For One thing to the future where Ochako and Zuko got married and had 3 kids. And yeah. And the Nomu, the one that was with Zuko at the like All for One versus All Might arc was still with him. And so name he was or so Zuko tells him that he can or he's a part of this family. So instead of calling him Patient Zero, they called him Zombone or something. So yeah, he yeah. So yeah. So or Zoomy or no, I'm saying Zoom or Mr. Zoom, that would be the good name. So Mr. Zoom was basically is him because he's basically and Zoom actually was dating Rinko actually, or I was gonna pick the I forget her name. Like I always call her Froggy or Frog Girl, basically. And yeah, so yeah. But so basically, yeah. She ends up so Renko and him I said Renko and him got married and had 3 kids too. So he was a polite guy. And Ringo had a crush on him from like since after the All Might versus All for One thing. And yeah, so this would be the end of the What If. Please leave a like, share, subscribe, and I know this is just a movie, so please make sure you hit the like button and share and subscribe. Peace out.